Burpees and survival, welcome. Ooh, burpees. Knowledge speaks, welcome, welcome. Let's see, Tania Deshawn writes, welcome, welcome. Burpees and survival, knowledge speaks, Tania. Sean writes, where y'all from? Walaikum salam. Hey, where y'all chiming in from? This is, this is probably the 8th time. So I promised, Alabama, okay. I promised I would go live every day between my birth anniversary and my spiritual, Pittsburgh, okay. My spiritual day, Brother Daniel 4X, welcome, welcome. And so that's what I'm doing. So any questions you all have, I am here to answer them. I'm having tonight on the Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses is going to be, Walaikum Salam, Brother Daniel, is going to be Brother Tori Muhammad. We're going to be talking about Black Chicago Eats and how important those Black restaurants are to our community. Gracious is God, welcome. And just how important it is that we promote them. And so we're going to break that down a little bit. I was looking at some of the statistics on the Black Chicago restaurant industry, and I just thought it was some interesting stats. 21,000 restaurants in Chicago, $16 billion in sales annually. That's significant. And just talks about the amount of meat, dairy, and seafood, and fruits and vegetables it serves. So we're going to talk about that and have that conversation later today at 7 p.m. on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. So you guys just jump over there and make sure you like and subscribe. Swervo Ali, welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Make sure you like and subscribe, and then that way we can have this conversation. And you can check on other episodes. I think you'll like the episodes. If you go to playlists, so when you go to my page, you like and subscribe. You know, at the top, it'll say video, live, and all that. Go to playlists, and you'll see the different categories and the different shows that are out there. And, you know, I hope you just binge on them and enjoy the information. Oh, thank you. Burpees and Survival said they already did it. All right, welcome. I was thinking about restaurants. So, culture is very important to me in terms of how we change the landscape of our own happiness. Culture is very important. And so understanding how to own and monetize our culture is very important. And restaurants are a big way in which people transfer the knowledge about their culture to other cultures. Very, very, very important. Oftentimes that's done through food. Big Hawaii, welcome again. Oftentimes that's done through food and through when people come into your restaurant. Courtney X, welcome. When they come into your restaurant and learn about your culture, it gives them a certain amount of respect, and it oftentimes interests people in who and what you are and what you're about. And I even take that down to just that interpersonal level. And I try to I have a culture about me, just like you all have a culture about you, and it fits into this broader culture. But when you come around me, you're going to experience certain vibrations. You're going to experience certain foods, certain conversations, certain way of things. Burpees and Survival said, you think that is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did a lot of his teaching at the dinner table? It's possible, because food is a big part, and all leaders, going all the way back to biblical times, they sat around food and shared wisdom. Food has been the center in the culture of the original man for a very, very long time. And I think that is definitely a question to be explored. I don't know the answer to that. Somebody may have heard the messenger say that, but what I will tell you is that I've been thinking about this for a while, and just even how we're going to incorporate that aspect of culture into the museum. So we'll be offering opportunities where people can come for dinner and participate in discussions, and where we'll tape those dinner discussions and create broadcasts and shows so that we replicate this around the country. Even when I was studying the original builder of the house, Mr. William French Burrough, one of the things he was known for was entertaining and his business dinners. So he drew people from many industries. He was in the meat packing and canning industry, but they kind of had this little circle, right? So you had the Goodyears on the next block, the Hoovers next door, all of these really powerful people right in the neighborhood, the distributors of the Singer sewing machine, the Spiegels, the Montgomery Ward. You had all of these people, and they would come to 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue and have dinner and talk about their problems, talk about how they were going to establish business and commerce for their culture, whether it was an ethnic culture or a circle of people, a group of people. That was just commonplace. And then, of course, moving forward, then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad having the table talks. Big Hawaii said that's why the messenger had his table talks. He had the attention of the believers and laborers at the table. Breaking bread is a family tradition and communal concept. Yeah, there's a lot of stories about the table talks. There's also the table talks being taped because Muhammad Ali would miss them because he was on the road. But the bottom line is that even if you go back to Prophet Muhammad's time, peace be upon him, Jesus, they were always breaking bread and having conversation, teaching, learning, training. For us as a nation, everything happened right there at 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. The messenger held court there, so people got in trouble. There literally was like court in the living room. When you mailed in your charity, you mailed it to 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. It was counted upstairs and stacked up. They got to the point where people were bringing in so many donations and the deposits from the businesses that there was a need to open a bank. When people wrote their savior's letters, if you know the original savior's letter, it says 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. That's where the letters went, and there were people there opening the mail. You name it, contract discussions, teaching, training, just very powerful over and around food. And so culture, going back to culture is actually one of the sciences of business. A lot of people don't know that. We always talk about how, well, we didn't learn the science of business, or the science of business was taken from us. See, when the knowledge of self was taken from us, the knowledge of God and the knowledge of his enemy, all of that was taken from us. Everything was taken from us. That included our names. That included our culture. That included our mindset. That included our self-esteem. That included anything that we needed to do to propagate the freedom for us and our families. Cindy So Dope, welcome. And Muhiri Uhama, welcome as well. That was taken from us. But when you look at culture, and when you think about Black culture and how much money is made off of Black culture and how we just don't know the value of it. One, because we don't love ourselves. So oftentimes when we see our culture, we're not really attracted to it because we're not attracted to ourselves. So we don't pay attention to our culture. But people around the world are making money off of our culture. They come and they say, okay, y'all don't want it, we'll take it and we'll make money off of it. See, through our struggle to survive as a people, our creativity and our connection to the Creator has continued, and we continue to be creative. I mean, you can go to any neighborhood in any city across America, and you're gonna find some creative Black folks, and they don't have to have money to be creative. So that's real talk. He said as well, someone sent me a message on this page and I tried to ignore and it switched pages. I'm not really sure what you mean. Or maybe that wasn't for me. I don't know. I don't understand what you guys mean. Okay. Anyway, so culture is important. And I think Tom Burrell said it the best. He said that we have to understand that to be successful, we can't try to be dark-skinned white people. So we can't strip ourselves of everything that makes us who we are, trying to be like somebody else, and thinking that that's a way of success for us. I was saying you can go to any country around the world or any city around the country and find our culture. Find creative Black people. And if once we learn to monetize that, to respect it, to own it, to monetize it, I think we'll probably be light years ahead of where we are now. And when I say discover it, meaning that we have to understand that that's a way of life, this creativity, this way in which we are is valuable. Not only do we have to respect it in ourselves and we have to believe in ourselves, but we also have to believe in other people. We have to not be so quick to tear people down. It's okay if a person isn't your cup of tea, but don't go around tearing people down. When you see people being creative and they're opening their businesses and things like that, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, stop wanton criticism of everything Black. Sometimes wanton means you just criticizing just to be criticizing. You sit down in the restaurant and you looking around like, they need to do this, they need to do that. But you go to a whole restaurant that is not owned by us, and it could be the nastiest place that you ever been in, but you will go up in there, get your food, and you will literally not even see all the things that they're doing that's not right. Some of the sanitary violations that take place, you could be looking at it in plain sight, but let that be a Black restaurant. You would jump up and have something to say. Why they use this kind of container? Why they got that TV in the lobby? The person walked up and didn't even say anything to me. And why the owner up in here? They must not be that successful because the owner up in here frying chicken. You don't know if when you went to your favorite restaurant, if that was the owner that was your waiter. You don't know if you went to your favorite restaurant, if that was your owner, that was the manager that came over and said something to you. You don't know if that was the owner over in the corner observing everything. But when it comes to Black folks, we just got something to say. And so it's a habit we have to break ourselves of. We have to really try to be more intentional about breaking ourselves of that. I had a conversation with a client who said that they were trying to stop using two words. One was MF and one was the N word. We'll be successful 2.0. I'm sorry. Okay. Welcome you all. Welcome. Okay. And if you just chimed in and I missed you and it's scrolling up, put in the chat where you're chiming in from. He said he was trying to stop cursing. He was trying to stop saying the M word and the N word. And I said to him, I said, when you refer to someone as an MF or you refer to someone as an N, is it normally people that look like you? And he said, yes. I said, is it normally men who look like you? And he said, yes. And I said, why don't you replace those two words with brother? He just looked at me. We were on Zoom. And I said, no, seriously. You already told me that you use that word to refer to people and you got to stop doing it. And I said, I asked you a series of questions. Do they look like you? And are they men that look like you? And both answers you said were yes. So just replace it with brother. Just say my brother. If you need an M word, put my in front of it, my brother. And he texted me today, this was last week, and he said that he had found that relatively easy to make that transition because he was having a problem because his son was using the word when he was seeing people that looked like him. I said, you better stop it now. He's only 5. And once he sees you make the transition and you start using brother instead of the M word and the N word, it'll work. And so when we start to being intentional about that love, that's what's going to help us with our culture. Did you know that not only during Prophet Muhammad's time, peace be upon him, but I was studying Solomon, Queen of Sheba, the Candaces, all of them, trade was very important. And a person was judged by how well they handled things as a trader. And so cultures are propagated through trade, commerce, food. Religions are propagated through trade, commerce, food. So when you went throughout the land, and that was why Queen of Sheba, for example, started learning about Solomon, because the traders would come back and tell her how fair he was and what kind of person he was. And from there, she started learning about him and hooked into his personality. And God literally was giving her revelations of love about this man that she had never seen, and he in turn with her. But it was trade and commerce, really, other than obviously the will of Allah, that brought them together. And when they met up with one another, they brought the fruits of their labor to one another as gifts. So tonight, when we talk on the Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses, I want you guys to look at this thing, Black Chicago Eats and Black restaurant movement, a little different. Let it hit a little different. One and only fashionista, welcome. Marky AX, welcome. Let's see, Solomon the First, welcome. Eduardo X, welcome. Look at it, let it hit a little bit different, because even if you patronize a Black-owned restaurant, and let's say, they get 20 new customers a week as a result of us having a conversation. Oh, thank you, Solomon the First. Let's say they get 20 new customers as a result. And let's say that average customer is $20 and it's $400 a week. You might be saying, well, that ain't no money. Or that person who is a baller might be saying, that ain't nothing. This is small. But guess what? That $400, extra $400 that person got because of our intention may pay 1 or 2 employees. It may help them to keep the doors open. It may help them to sustain a little bit longer so that they can continue to grow and get bigger and scale. See, the challenge with us as a people is that we can't keep the income from our businesses going consistently enough so that we can get to a point where we stop hustling and we can start scaling and expanding and getting a good manager or a good chief of operations. So it takes time, and it takes that constant flow of income, because so now the more you purchase, the more you can negotiate with your vendors. You can access certain discounts. So there's a number of different things that we put in place when we support these Black-owned businesses. It's a place for you to meet. If you are in business yourself and you have to have business meetings, and most of us in corporate, we know that so many meetings are done at restaurants where we get invited, then you can choose a Black-owned restaurant. If you're in the office and they say, hey, let's order food, and you get to make a suggestion, order from a Black-owned restaurant. Let's be intentional and let's make a difference. Let people taste our culture. They're already doing it through music and dance, and let them taste it. And then place our culture in situations where money is being made, where morality is being discussed, where certain principles are being upheld. And so now people can begin to associate that taste with success. It's like people associate pizza with partying or Friday, the weekend. That's what they associate pizza with. Well, what happens if you start to associate food from Black-owned restaurants with deal making? What happens when you come to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and you get to eat a Muslim prepared meal using Muslim recipes, and the food is healthy, clean, it's superb, and you're talking about powerful, conceptual, life-changing business deals and ideologies and educational concepts over this beautifully vibrationally high food? What does that do to our culture? What does that do to our form of civilization? See, it's easy to steal somebody's culture and be a culture vulture when they don't want it, when they disconnect themselves from it. It's easy when somebody else controls the culture and tells us that ratchetness is our culture. And then they get us off into ratchetness. We get all creative with the ratchetness, and then they steal the ratchetness and practice it and say they're doing it's theirs. Think about that. It's like we can't even own the ratchetness. Not that we want to, but my goodness. So the key thing is for us to really begin to be intentional and to elevate ourselves, elevate anything Black-owned, show honor and respect and love for anything Black-owned, be really, really excited about anything that's Black-owned. If you got to go a little extra mile, go the extra mile to support somebody Black-owned. We deserve that. And it's time. It's time for us to be intentional. And instead of being critical, sometimes you can write a little note to the owner. Sometimes you can pull the owner aside. If people are disrespectful, then I would tell you this: don't put your money behind disrespect. I don't put my money into bad situations and energies. But most of the time, when I patronize Black-owned businesses, I don't see disrespect. Sometimes we're a little busy. Sometimes we're a little unorganized. Sometimes we're a little slow. Sometimes we extra exit away. But it doesn't warrant hatred, the same hatred that we get from our enemy, who has not wanted us to be in business for ourselves for so many years. Okay, so just something to think about. So we're going to talk about that today at 7 p.m. Central Time. on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. If you have not already, jump on over there, like and subscribe to the page. Make sure you tune in at 7 p.m. Brother Tori and I will be talking about Black Chicago Eats, which is his brainchild. And it's something that is necessary and it's fun, right? And then Saturday morning, Saturday period is a special day for me, right? September 9th is the day that I embarked upon my spiritual journey as a Muslim. And I'm going to talk about that on the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talk. I'm going to have that conversation, just talking about that spiritual journey and what that's been like. The beauty of it, the challenge of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're gonna have that conversation on Saturday morning. And then I got some special stuff happening Saturday afternoon, and I'll try to come back and go live. Let's see. We have to speak life into our Black businesses instead of depreciating them. That's exactly right. We do have to speak life into it. And those of us that are in business, it starts with us. We have to speak life into our business. If we're serving food, teach people how to serve love. Again, I always say, click the link in the bio. I'm a business consultant. I can help you. I've helped people to build businesses. I've helped people to build the culture in their businesses so that when you go there, you just feel good. A friend of mine has a restaurant here in Chicago, and no matter how many times I've been there or had the food, I want to go there every time I think about going out to dinner. And there's other places whose food I like better, but it's the service. And it's nothing like seeing Black people feel good and treating one another good and just sharing in that vibration and that energy. And it just makes me feel good knowing that I'm supporting a fellow Black business owner. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Don't be around here talking about you want to be in business, but you don't support nobody else that's Black. I'm going to say that again. Don't be around here talking about you want to be in business. You want somebody to love you, but you don't support nothing Black. You don't have nothing Black owned in your closet. You don't have nothing Black owned in your cupboard. You don't have nothing Black owned in your life, but you want Black people to support you. But then you criticize Black people and say, well, we just don't support one another. Well, start with yourself. What Michael Jackson say? Start with the man in the mirror. Start with the woman in the mirror. How much do you support? How much are you supporting Black owned businesses? How much are you supporting other Black people? Listen, I'm so dedicated to supporting Black owned people. If you know me and you're a friend of mine, I'm pushing you to start your own business. You get your business up and going. I'm like, hey, what can I do? How can I help? Let me give you some advice. Let me support you in this way, because I want to see us successful. And it hurts me to my heart to see us close down. And sometimes it's necessary because a lot of times we don't get the principles. We don't understand. And that's okay, because sometimes you have to fall forward and just keep going, keep going, keep going. So my goal is to be an asset to anybody in my life, family, friends, whatever. And my family and friends will tell you there's people around who don't always act right, but our unity is more important. Now, you can't play in my face and be disrespectful. However, I'm going to do what I can to keep us together and keep the peace. So it's important. Let's see. Muharib Uhama, may Allah continue to bless you, Sister Sajdah. You're a jewel to our nation. Thank you, sir. You just don't know how much those words mean to me, because it's just that important to me. It's just important. It's just in my soul. It's in my vibrational crawl to want to see us successful, to want to see us vibrant, to want to see Allah come through us and make himself known through us. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to me when I see us unite, with our brothers and sisters around the world. A lot of times we have differences. We got to stop allowing Willie Lynch and Yakub and his made mind with their philosophy to rule us and to divide us and to exaggerate our divisions. You may be Christian, I may be Muslim, I may be a Nation of Islam Muslim, you may be another faction of Islam, but that does not mean that we can't unite. We don't have to agree on 100% of everything to recognize the power in unity. We just have to focus on what we can agree upon and what's important to us. And what we can agree upon is that these people in Forbes magazine, New York Times, and all them already said that by the year 2025, we will have raised a generation that will not do better than us. And some of us out here doing bad. So if we raising children with all this so-called education and all this that we claim we sacrificing, and they're not going to do better than us, then that means we got something in common. We got to get ourselves together. Our community is in crisis. That's something to unite around. It takes a village. We have to be diverse. It's okay. We don't all have to think alike. Even if we're all Christians, all Christians don't have to think alike. All Muslims don't have to think alike, because we didn't all come on the planet to do the same thing. We don't all have the same assignment. A lot of us have different assignments. My assignment might be different from yours. Yours is different from mine and maybe from the next person. But we have to unite around certain common causes, and we have to be mature enough to be able to get along, even though we don't agree on 100% of everything. See, unity doesn't necessarily mean uniformity. And we got to be real clear about that. Let's grow up. Let's stop allowing pop culture to create division between us. See, pop culture has become the vehicle through which the brainwashing oftentimes takes place. So one of the things they make us do is they make us choose Tupac or Biggie. And so all the Tupac people is over here and all the Biggie people is over there, and we about to fight over who's the best. Are you serious? Why can't you like music from both of them? Why can't you like some Tupac and like some Biggie? What's wrong with that? You don't have to pick. Who they think they are? See, you got to understand, when this propaganda comes down, it's a mindset. And once you tie into the mindset, then they got you, because now they can feed anything through that pipeline, that mindset that they put together. Malcolm or Martin. And y'all sitting up fussing and arguing. And a lot of us, we wouldn't have been listening to either one of them if we was back then. Why can't you like some things from Martin Luther King and like some things from Malcolm X? Why can't you? Booker T, W.E.B. Du Bois. We just fussing. We arguing. They have these things out now, these versus battles. It's supposed to be fun, but people making it like it's a real competition. Like they at a big game or something. Why can't you just listen to the verses and enjoy both of them? I was listening to somebody the other day talking about, man, Chris Brown versus Usher. I like both of them. I love me some Chris Brown and I love me some Usher. I'm not getting ready to let you put me in no position where I'm fussing and fighting Michael Jackson or Prince. I happen to be a huge Prince fan, but I love me some Michael Jackson. So when you learn to exercise your own mind, when you're watching television, pay attention to what's going on and what's being said. Do some homework before you just accept what somebody is saying to you. And once you do your homework and once you decide where you want to land, don't be so rigid I'm not telling you to be flip-flopping, but don't be so rigid that if you find out that maybe you need to make a change, that you can't do it. Listen, we out here dealing with political candidates. You got Lucifer and Satan. So you just got to figure out which one is going to best support the agenda of our community. Don't be about to kill somebody. If you're on the Lucifer team, don't be trying to kill the people on the Satan team, because it just don't make sense. It don't make sense. Bottom line is we have to be nation building. We have to unite. We have to pool our resources. Let's sit down and start talking about how we can come together. Nobody makes it on their own. You with your little platform and me with my little platform and them with their little platform. I don't care how big you think your platform is. It can be bigger. It ain't big as ours all put together. And it's our unity that's going to mess up the algorithm. It's our unity that's going to change the algorithm and literally make an adjustment in the economy. We can change the economic landscape of this country just by uniting. Y'all hear me 1,000 times. I tell y'all, we live in a data-driven economy. Somebody can wake up tomorrow and say something and tank the entire economy. We live in a data-driven economy, so economic forecasts and predictions are written based upon predictions about behavior as it relates to how we consume information, how we consume and spend money, food, whatever. That stuff is based on behavioral data. And then predictions are made upon that. And then those predictions are made, and then data is analyzed. And then once the data is analyzed, then investments, money is followed. So guess what? If they think we're going to do one thing, but we come together and unite, what are we doing? We're changing, we're developing our own algorithm, a different language. We're training the AI how to see us differently, how to spit out different information about us. Y'all ain't ready. We got to change. We got to get up out of this, y'all. We got to think differently. We got to support one another, buy from one another, spend time with one another. You know what? I don't even care if I know much about your cause. Somebody tells me a friend of mine just opened a new business, bam, I'm there. And as long as it's not anything immoral or illegal, I'm supporting. So, that's my spiel for today. So I want to see you all at 7 p.m. Central Time on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up if you've already liked and subscribed to the page. Yes, algorithm, brother Ian Muhammad. That's exactly right. Ian Muhammad. Okay, family. I'm going to get off my soapbox today. That's my Buy Black, Be Black soapbox that I've been on. Just support Black businesses. And let's stop being critical. I pushed back the other day on a conversation I seen between Pastor T.D. Jakes and Charlemagne the God, where they were talking about Black people just hustling and they wearing themselves thin and they ain't really got no businesses. They just owning their job. That's a first step. Because people are tired. People tired of going to work and dealing with discrimination. People tired of going to work and dealing with racism and sexism and being sexually abused. People are tired. And so if it means for a minute they got to own their own job, then sometimes what happens is the business gets bigger than you. And then you get overwhelmed for a minute, and then you need to get a coach or figure out how to scale, how to expand, how to bring in more revenue. So it's just a math problem. Everything is just a math problem. And so sometimes the math don't work out no more. It worked out at first when we was like, okay, I'm gonna get my license and start doing hair. Then you start getting too many customers, and then people start really loving you, and then you get overwhelmed. And now you got to figure out the next phase. Don't quit and don't criticize them. Just sit down and say, all right, Now we got a new math problem. Let me figure out what my variables are, and let me figure out how to solve this new math problem. And now I'll go to the next level. And guess what? When you get to the next level, folks gonna criticize you on that level. But you know what you do? When you find yourself feeling frustrated and you have the desire to move on, you figure that math problem out. And you go to the next level and the next level and the next level. So people have to start somewhere. And so many people, listen, there are so many companies out here that's looking to hire people. Every time I go into a store, a restaurant, a business, an office, what do they say? We're hiring. Sorry, we're short-staffed. The whole time exceeds 7 minutes because we ain't got no staff. But people are tired. Some people say, well, folks just don't want to work. That's true in some cases. But in a lot of cases, people just tired of the bullshit. And so they're doing for self. They figuring out how to go online and open up their own business. They got 4 or 5 different hustles that make up a revenue stream that they can live off of. So now it's time for us to help one another take it to that next level. Let's not criticize our people for where we are. We're doing for self. It might look ugly right now, but at a certain point, it's going to get real pretty. We just got to keep on, keep focusing on fulfilling the needs of one another and focus on supporting one another, uniting, pooling our resources and not criticizing one another. Okay? It's just math. It's just a math problem. You get overwhelmed, you got to sit back and go, all right, let me figure out what's next. Okay, family, I'll see you all at 7 p.m. Central Time, inshallah, on the Sajdah Saturday morning Coffee Talks. No, it's not the Coffee Talk. Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. That's where we're going to be at 7 o'clock. Coffee Talks is Saturday morning at 6 a.m. Okay, let me say it again. See y'all 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay, for the Mo Today series on Black Muslim businesses on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. There it is. Okay, I'll see y'all soon. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings.